Hello YouTube! So today what I am going to talk about is a character who I don't think is necessarily underrated, but his abilities are so tricky to scale that as a 32 years old elementary teacher, feel the need to educate you about him, okay? And it is this dude, Nagato. Now, I am going to pronounce him as Nagato, not as Nagato, or however you pronounce it in the US, because, let's face it, I am from the Balkans, my pronunciation sucks, and I know a fair bit of Japanese, so it is closer to what I am used to pronounce him as, so bear with me please. Also, before getting to the nitty-gritty part, I just want to say that I won't explain what every single 6 paths of pain does, okay? There are enough videos about them. But what I am going to talk about are some of those more niche things regarding Nagato's power level. Stuff like his chakra capacity, speed, mobility, durability, and potential techniques which he should be able to use. But for some reason he doesn't, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first reason why I think Nagato is kinda getting underestimated on communities like Reddit, for example, is because, well, the usual argument is, Nagato is probably the strongest non-six-path character and so on, but what if I tell you that Nagato is actually a six-path chakra user himself, okay? First, let's establish what actually is the Rinnegan, for example. It's an amalgamation of Indra and Asura chakra, which, when combined, manifests itself into the Rinnegan. In other words, it becomes a six-path chakra. Now, you're gonna say, okay, but Nagato, he's a fake Rinnegan user. Okay, but let's see what Obito or Mr. Fake Madara has to say here. You were the third sage of the six paths, powerful enough to turn the red hair that marked you as descendant of Tsuzumaki clan white, okay? Now, you would say, well, Obito, he obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. But are you sure? The disciple of Uchiha Madara and the person who knows the most about the history of the ninja world, besides Zetsu and Madara himself, yeah, I think he doesn't know what he's talking about, for sure. Then you're probably gonna say, well, Obito, he's a pathological liar. He's obviously lying about this, but who is Obito lying to? There are only dead Yahiko and Nagato next to him. Also, if you feel a tiny bit conspirational, now you would say, well, Obito is breaking the fourth wall. He's lying to us, the readers. But again, why would Kishimoto lie about that if Nagato isn't really a six-path user, okay? He, if anything, tried to get rid of Nagato as fast as he could during the war arc. Now, if Nagato is the third sage of the six paths, who is the first one? Well, that's obviously Hagoromo. And the second one? You guessed it, Uchiha Madara, the real one. Obito, on the other hand, doesn't call himself Sage of the Six Paths until he absorbs the Jubi, okay? So that means Obito doesn't deem himself worthy of being a six-path character until then, but he calls Nagato one. So, when talking about chakra monsters, Nagato, he's always been put in the top positions due to his extreme feats. However, what if I told you that Nagato is even more of a chakra beast than you can even comprehend? let's start with how transplanted dojutsu works. The chakra drain on the user, who is not the original owner, is so significant it could lead them being bedridden for a few days, as is the case with Kakashi. Also, since the transplanted dojutsu cannot be deactivated, the user kinda needs to keep it covered when not in battle. In most cases, we've seen people having only one transplanted eye. Nagato, on the other hand, has two of them. And what's more, that's a pair of the most draining dojutsu in the Narutoverse, the Rinnegan. I don't really know about Boruto since I don't watch it, but that's the case in Naruto. And even though Nagato can't deactivate it, there is no reason to think he ever covers both of his eyes since, well, how would he see? So Nagato is being constantly chakra drained by the most chakra draining dojutsu in the series. Keep that in mind, guys. If you doubt what I'm saying, let's see what Mr. Obito has to say about that. Okay, reading. Even with just this left eye, its chakra and eye power is so strong that I almost lost myself. And I'm not even the original owner. I could still do all of this. Okay? So Obito, one of the strongest Uchiha ever, who is also successfully modified by Hashirama cells, which even counters the Mangekyo Sharingan blindness, could hardly handle even one Rinnegan. Now, let's go back to Nagato's chakra feats, okay? So, for his most impressive feats are widely regarded those performed during the Pain Assault arc. However, the jutsu he performs there are through the 6 paths of pain, which are dead bodies of people who do not even possess the Uzumaki resilience to handle the Rinnegan. That means Nagato needs to pump even more chakra to perform a 6 paths jutsu of normal strength. Okay? Let's say that Madara performs a normal sized Shinra Tensei. We would attach the number 1 to it. And for Nagato to perform the same Shinra Tensei, he will need to pump twice as much chakra. So Madara 1, Nagato 2 in efficiency. Now, for Nagato to perform the same Shinra Tensei at a distance through the 6 paths of pain bodies, he would need to pump from 4 to 6 times more chakra than Madara. So again, Madara 1, Nagato 2, 6 paths of pain gain 6 in chakra inefficiency. So, to sum things up, I think it's safe to say that, due to feats, Nagato is the shinobi with the most natural chakra reserves in the series, excluding godlike characters and Hashirama himself, of course, who is a freak of nature. Now, we're getting into those categories where Nagato doesn't really get enough credit for, even though he's top tier on them, and the first one is speed. So let's start with crippled Nagato. Now, what we see here is Nagato randomly disappearing with his invisible summon thingy, then his Shinra Tenseis, Naruto and QRB, like, I don't know, hundreds of meters away, and while QRB is still flying, Nagato randomly appears behind him. Now, we don't see his animal path summon around him in the manga, so that means crippled Nagato is randomly Raikage level speed? Huh. There are two possible explanations. First, Nagato has extremely fast Shushin no Jutsu, which, is pumping chakra to vitalize the body and cover long distances in extremely short amount of time. The second option is maybe Nagato just used his Divapath powers, which allow him to even levitate, by the way, and he probably shoot himself with an even stronger Shinra Tensei than the one he used on B. Either way, Nagato looks pretty mobile for a cripple who was kinda clinging to Itachi moments earlier. For revitalized Nagato, he showed similar speed feats to Edo Itachi, which makes him top tier in reaction and movement speed. Nagato was able to blitz KMC1 Naruto and B, not giving them a break even. And what's more, according to Kabuto, that's not even Nagato's final form in regards to speed. Kabuto implied that Nagato would be able to dodge or at least react to Totsuka Blade if his movement wasn't sold out. Now, I want to briefly touch on why Nagato couldn't just use his Asura path to make new legs for himself, okay? Now, a lot of people will say, but that's not how it works, it could only make hands. First, that's never explicitly stated, and second, if his Asura arms are strong enough to overpower a character like QRB with ease, you know, they're strong enough to serve as legs and lift Nagato off the floor. I mean, how cool would it be if Nagato was something like a four-legged shinobi, no? So, for the next category, where I think Nagato is really being slept on, that is strength and durability. Starting off with his crippled version again, Nagato, he took a Fukuoka QRB lariat to the face, okay? Something which almost killed Sasuke earlier in the series, and Nagato was still in one piece. Like, he didn't even look fazed by it. Of course, after revitalizing himself, Nagato showed some Tsunade Raikage level strength feats, being able to outtrade KMC1 Naruto and QRB with ease. Like, yeah, maybe Nagato doesn't really have Raikage or Tsunade's punching power, but his grip strength, so to speak, is kinda more impressive than what those characters have shown. Talking about chakra, I am going to show you why Nagato getting blitzed by the Totsuka Blade makes no sense unless his impaired mobility was really severe, which I think it wasn't, as we've already discussed in the speed feats. Again, if I had to put rankings on the best sensory ninjas in the series, Nagato for sure would be first or second place, because let's face it, Nagato probably has the most impressive chakra control in the series, as he was constantly fueling chakra into the 6 paths of pain, sometimes including even the animal path summons. All that while he was dealing with 6 or more different fields of vision at the same time and alternating his chakra frequency, making it impossible even for sensors of the Yamanaka Kwan to detect him. Second, if you remember his rain barrier, it allowed him to keep eye for unusual chakra throughout the whole rain village, even while Nagato was not present in it. Okay? Now, his Rinnegan also allows Nagato to see chakra and its flow in the body, including invisible barriers, and even though his vision might be impaired by smoke, his shared field of vision could, for example, allow him to see what's going on the other side if he has a prepared summon. Now, his high visual prowess allows Nagato to be so precise that he could discern where chakra is being built up, as it is the case with Itachi's right eye, where Nagato assumes it's Amaterasu. That would give him a similar to the Sharingan predictive ability if Nagato knows his opponent's arsenal, as it was the case with Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan. In regards to the war arc, we have extremely skilled sensory ninjas on the Alliance side and from the Edo Tensei side, you know? For example, the second Tsuchikage Mu was stated to be exceptionally good at sensing, being able to react to Naruto's attacks from his blind spots. But no one was able to sense Kabuto through his chakra hiding barrier except, you guessed it, Nagato. Without him, Itachi and Sasuke won't fight Kabuto and the alliance is kinda doomed. So yeah, If even Itachi prizes you for your sensory abilities, that must mean you're kinda the real deal. And in my mind, Nagato, he's a better sensory ninja than Karin. We don't have to sugarcoat it. Going to the final stage of this video, I am going to try and answer some of the loopholes I think which Kishimoto didn't really try to fill regarding Nagato. For example, let's start with Limbo. Now, Nagato should be able to use Limbo. And why would you ask? It's, you know, the original technique unique to Madara. But that's different from Madara's Mangekyo Sharingan abilities, for example. Because while it's logical that Nagato can't deactivate his Rinnegan and use Susanoo, Limbo is part of Madara's Rinnegan abilities. Okay, there's no reason why Nagato can't really do Limbo. So, there are several possible explanations. First, maybe Nagato just doesn't like it. It's not his preferred fighting style, or maybe it's too draining for him, as he's not the original owner. And the second one is, maybe he doesn't know he has it. See for example how Kakashi didn't know he could enter the Kamui dimension, and was able to do so only ever after he saw Obito doing it. For the last thing though, I find Kishimoto highly hard to trust on, you know? For example, why couldn't Nagato heal his legs? For 20 years. 20 years the leader of the most powerful terrorist organization, possessor of Rinnegan, body with Zetsu, who literally made half Obito's body by the way, and he just can't heal his damaged legs? Meanwhile, Rock Lee, he could get basically a new spine from Tsunade and be up to go? I find that pretty hard to explain. Now, overall, I hope that I was able to convince you how Nagato is actually stronger than you think. I might even consider doing some versus scenarios against some of the opponents that Nagato is being taught as weaker than. And last, as a further proof, I remember my grandmother saying to me, "I don't care what they tell you at school, Nagato, he was stronger than eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Madara." Thank you. Alright guys, I hope that I was able to shed some light into this topic, and if you have any suggestions, be it for this current video or a possible next one, drop down a comment and of course express your opinion freely. Now, again for a next video, I am thinking about Kimimaro, because in my opinion, he's also one of those characters which are chronically underrated by the community. Now, if you found the video appealing to your tastes, please like and subscribe. Then have a nice day, all the good stuff, bye bye.